the outside doors, we have noted that there's a capacity of 85 people to be in the room, and as people leave, then others will be able to come in and take their place as well. But we have to comply to all of the rules and regulations of the fire department and so forth. So please bear with us during this time. So at this time, we will have oral communications. And persons wishing to address the board, persons wishing to the board under this item should fill out the yellow cards that you have. And communication will be for 3 minutes. And we request that you adhere to the 3 minutes. This is going to be a long session, and so we would like for you not to give your 3 minutes to someone else. We would prefer that you stick to your 3 minutes. If there are many, to 3 minutes only. So this is what we will do at this time. So we will have the first speaker.
Brown Act.
Brown Act.
Brown Act.
Brown Act.
Brown Act.
Trustee Salcido was suggesting that we do this item first. It will be first on the agenda so that we can have item 16 be brought forward first. So we will have all of the speakers speak on the items that you will come to speak on in grade 16. So the first...
Point of order, President. I think in order to make the change in the agenda, it has to be by motion of the board. Before it
Yes, do I have a motion that we bring this item forward? Second? Okay. Mr. Aguilar motion and Mrs. Valadoli second. Do I hear?
Under discussion?
The discussion?
Yes, I appreciate the fact that we're nominating the public and letting this item come forward. Just point of clarity, when you say first, is that after or before the public communication?
It's after the public communication.
Thank you.
Then we will go to the item.
Right.
So that everyone doesn't have to wait.
Okay, just for that clarification. So we'll have, with that amendment, ensuring that the item 16A will come after the public communication.
Well, that's what I meant, yes. Thank you. Please vote. All right. We vote on the pass, we will do as I said. The first person that we have to speak, who does not want to speak on the agenda, and it's not on the agenda, but it's Mr. Ray Lutz.
Thank you. My name is Ray Lutz. I'm with citizensoversight.org, and the film will be available on our website if you'd like to watch the meeting. I'd like to suggest that you look around for a bigger room. There's a lot of people who want to attend the meeting outside, and you can't really attend the meeting. You can't see, the expressions and so forth if you run it in this little tiny room. We also had it run in the Coronado Unified School District, where there wasn't even enough room at all. I noticed the law enforcement and fire department was really worried when we were over there because they were counting heads and it was over the limit. So that's my suggestion on that. The other thing is, we found in our discussions with the State Attorney General's office that it's okay for people to submit their card and speak on an item up to the point when the item comes up for discussion. The idea that they have to put it in before a certain time of the meeting, they said that wasn't the case. So I can deliver that documentation if you'd like. That's the end of my comments. Thank you.
Might as well stay there because you have a yellow card and for 3 minutes. Is that what you're going to talk about? Is there were 2 yellow cards.
Oh, is it, no, the other one is on item 16A.
Okay, 16A.
Yeah.
We can talk on that, that if you'd like.
Okay. Since I guess there's no further public comment, I did send to the board a 5-page document detailing the review of the current memorandum of understanding that's on the table and justification for not approving it and going ahead with another project. So I'm not going to try to go over each point because you've all received this and I have copies for everybody just in case you missed it in your email. Briefly though, there are problems with the current agreement in terms of the fact that the XE can publicize that they are making, that they have this agreement with you guys so they can use it as a marketing campaign. And that they will be indoctrinated the students will be indoctrinated into the possibility of working for Blackwater as a career path. And by doing so, you are basically endorsing that career path. We would like to discourage you from doing that. And the termination, you should have no 4 months on your side. The Otay Mesa facility, I gave you a lengthy history of why the city tried to review that and have the public review it. It was taken to federal court, and the city it was basically forced down their throat with a restraining order at the lowest possible level. So this is leaves a bad taste in everybody's mouth. The federal cases I mentioned, there's 4 federal cases with some 20 victims coming up. You don't want to really be around this hoopla that's going to happen. But what is the positive way forward? What I want to suggest is something that's came up in my discussions with Lisa Curtin, who runs the military training program at City College. I asked her if she had any trouble finding shooting ranges. She said no. However, she said we should do some planning so that colleges like Southwestern College and others can have their needs met, both for the students, for police, for sheriffs, and so forth. So the idea is to have a regional security summit. I know that the city is into it. I know you've received a letter from Council President Ben Hueso. I know that Bob Filner came and talked to you, and all these community spokespeople. We should sit down, take the list of shooting ranges that you have, review those with everybody in the county. You're not alone here. You don't have to make this decision as a lone ranger without help from everybody else. We can put this agreement aside, cancel it. It can always be renewed. I'm sure Blackwater will love to have you come to their shooting range if it's absolutely necessary. Put this aside and cancel it, and let's go forward with a positive direction of looking at all these shooting ranges and deciding what should happen in concert with everybody else in the region. That's the way to solve this in a constructive manner. We want to have your facilities available, but going down this trail with Blackwater is the wrong way to go. And that's been voiced over and over again, and I'm sure you'll hear more. And unfortunately, if you approve the agreement, we're going to have to keep doing it. And frankly, I don't want to have to come back here every single meeting to go over this. I worked for over 2 years on the Potrero issue, and I'm going to keep working on it and working on it and working on it if that's necessary. Please don't make me come in here meeting after meeting and talk about this, because that's what's going to happen if this thing gets approved, because we're going to be asking for you not to approve it every single meeting. Take this off, disapprove it, and then let's go forward and be constructive. Thank you.
Next speaker is Eleanor Vector. And after this, I'll call like 3 names in a row, and then we'll be ready to come out.
Good evening. Remembering the names of the 4 young American men who were brutally massacred in Fallujah. Scott Helveston from Florida, Jerry Zavko from Ohio, Wes Bartoloni from Hawaii, and Mike Teague from Tennessee. Jerry Zotko's mother said, and this is a quote from the book Blackwater, which I copied some pages, "I found that there were no rules and no laws that govern what my son was doing. He was working for a company that could do whatever they wanted to do and however they wanted to do it." On Fox News, retired Colonel Ralph Peters said, answering the question, who was driving around in unprotected SUVs in Iraq? Either they were the most foolish contractors in the history of mankind or intelligence people. Jeffrey Gettleman, New York Times correspondent from Fallujah, wrote, "What is really mysterious is why two unescorted, unarmored trucks would be driving through the downtown of one of the most dangerous cities in Iraq without any serious protection." And in the interest of time, we'll skip down to Eric Prince, owner and CEO of Blackwater, or he was the owner. "Like what the military officers who gave training to the Continental Army, we are doing in Iraq or Afghanistan. We're giving them the capability to defend themselves, so you don't have to send big conventional military to do that. But we did send big conventional military to do that, and 4,268 Americans have been killed, and over 20,000 have been seriously wounded. Are you seriously going to entrust the lives of the students of Southwestern College to such an organization that has the blood of hundreds on their hands, and quite possibly some of the millions and a million and a half Iraqis who have been killed? Are you going to take their blood money? Dare you give a taxpayer-funded college over to them? No, no, 1,000 times no. Break any and all agreements with them today. Thank you.
We have Martha Sullivan, Michael Kennedy, and Pam Hoy.
I'm just going to speak briefly and then give the rest of it to you. Okay.
Hi, I'm Michael Kennedy. I'm just an ordinary citizen. I want to register my disapproval of Blackwater in general, and I see no need to use a public facility like this to further the aims of a private army. That is unacceptable. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Did you say Martha Sullivan?
Yeah, you're next.
Yeah. I just wanted to speak briefly, and then I'm going to turn over the balance of my time to Ray Lutz. I wanted.
Do that. I just said 3 minutes each, and you can't do that.
I'm sorry?
You cannot. You can have your 3 minutes, but not give it to someone else.
The card says you can.
Tonight we are changing it because.
Why didn't we get notice of that?
And I called our council for this.
Why didn't we get notice of
I'm
that?
sorry, I'm calling on our council.
We do have a very lengthy agenda, and there are many speakers who want to address this issue. And as the president...
That's all right, Martha.
As the president...
I'm sorry, let's be quiet and be respectful.
The president of the board has indicated, and the board supports, that each speaker be given their full opportunity to speak for 3 minutes, and that's the
It's all right.
message. And that's,
okay.
That is legal.
And I did announce that at the beginning.
It's okay, Martha, just do it.
So you
But
don't
not when we filled out our speaker card.
You have your 3 minutes.
Okay, well, I'll use them then. I'd like to make sure that you're aware that today there was testimony before the United States Senate, chaired by Senator Whitehead from Rhode Island. It was a very unique, special hearing in that they had to have at least one of the witnesses behind curtains so that his face would not be shown and his identity would not be released in the media. This witness was a former CIA intelligence operative who performed interrogations in Afghanistan and Iraq. He was testifying about the use of enhanced interrogation techniques, which we all know from reports in the media, is basically torture. We know by all the accounts that have come out in the media, by reports that have been issued so far by our government and the new administration, that this is a very, very serious consequence to this country, to our credibility, to, you know, observing our law. This witness testified, you know, as a professional interrogator for the CIA, that in his experience, when he interrogated one of the first high-value detainees, Zabida, that it was not the CIA or the FBI who were promoting these enhanced interrogation techniques. In fact, they were contractors that were promoting them. And I want to make this point very clear to you, just to reinforce what's been said so far. Contractors are the ones who promoted torture. They're the ones who have gotten this country into the situation where we cannot stand before the world as we did before, with our credibility and our integrity intact. So please, please, give this CIA interrogator, you know, his testimony your serious consideration. It was on national public radio this afternoon. You can verify it on the U.S. Senate website of what the hearings were today under Senator Whitehead. Please take this under consideration. This is not, you know, contractors in this war. This is not something we want to invite on this campus and suggest to students as a career. Thank you.
Madam Chair, if I could have some staff just bring
I'm
the
sorry?
microphone to her. Take it off its, yes.
I just want to say you really don't want to do this. You really don't want to contact with what, but it's that the college is that for your students. It's that for the area and it's that for America. You don't want to do it. Thank you.
Well done. And next we have Carl Bannister.
That's me, can we?
That's you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so somebody wants to go
And
ahead.
then Chloe Ramus and Rebecca Walnowitz.
I call it walnuts.
Rebecca is here.
Chloe is here.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, have Rebecca come in. And Chloe is here before you're here. Hi, Carl.
Hi, I'm just another citizen. I am also opposed to Blackwater. I don't think we need to deal with mercenaries. I don't think our nation needs to be dealing with them, and I certainly don't think the college needs to be dealing with them. Thank you.
My name is Chloe Arenas, and as a former student, I would be appalled to know that Blackwater Z was at the college. The history of that company is so far away from what this college teaches that it would be unbelievable to know that they were using your name as a form of advertising, or asking young men and women to join them in their crusade of death and making those children nothing but cannon fodder. I think you need to reconsider. Thank you.
There's a community member here who would like to speak, who didn't get a chance to fill out a yellow card, so I'd like to cede my time to her.
No, you have to give your own time yourself.
Okay. Sorry, we're out there. We can't really hear what's being said up here. We can only hear this microphone. Sorry. Just so you know, it's very difficult to hear out there. I'm Rebecca Volnievich. I am a communication instructor here. This is my third time at a board meeting, my second time speaking against this MOU with Blackwater Z. It's just a bad idea. I mean, Bob Filner was here. People from the community are coming here. When is the last time a large group of community members just came out to Southwestern College to speak so passionately about an issue? The things that the people have been saying, I'm sorry, they're true. And it's not just a few things that have gone wrong with this company. It is multiple. You know, it's interesting. I read stories about how colleges stop buying a certain brand of sweatshirt for their bookstore because they hear that maybe a company harmed an animal making some wool product that's not even sold at the school, so they boycott that company. Or you hear that maybe some people who in this country would believe are too young to be working are constructing sweatshirts. And they don't think that that's ethical. So those schools say, hey, we're going to boycott that product. Sorry. But at Southwestern College, there is this company that is all over the news. There are, questions of murder and torture and extraordinary rendition. And Southwestern College is going, yeah, okay, maybe, sure, why not? It's just not a good idea. I'm so worried. October's coming. October is accreditation time. I went to this school as a young person. I grew up in Chula Vista. I was working in Maine. I was working in Illinois. I had a chance to come back to my community and work with people just like me to help them get through college. I'm the first person in my family to ever get a degree. And I feel so blessed to have a job in the community where I help people. And I am so vastly embarrassed. This is so embarrassing. It's a bad call. I know you're trying to help people in the police academy here, but this is not the way to do it, folks. Please, I'm asking you, please. Don't shame our school. Don't shame our community. And right now, I'm just ashamed myself. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Rodriguez and Vivian Valdivia.
My name is Mark Pendelescu. I'm a faculty member here, and I want to congratulate you because I really like what you've done with the place. It's nice and clean and airy, and you completely eliminated anybody who might want to be part of this meeting. And I just got this tonight when I got here. And in 2 short minutes, you have violated 5 of these 10 precepts. You have not created a climate of listening. You have not communicated aggressively with everybody. You are not relating to the community. You have not solicited every citizen's help, and most of all, you've broken a promise that there will be no secrets and no surprises. This comes from a book called Making a Bad Situation Good by Raj Chopra. I'm not a political person. I would rather be in the classroom. I'd rather be teaching. I don't want to be here talking about Blackwater. I don't want to be talking to people who can't see what Blackwater is. You have made my school not only a laughingstock locally, but nationally. I'm getting emails from friends in Chicago, Boston, San Francisco, and they're saying, who are these people? Aren't they aware of the world condemnation of this company? Don't they have any morality? Don't they have some code of ethics that prevents them from entering into agreements with internationally reviled organizations? I tell them that is not my school. My students, my colleagues, my co-workers, the community recognizes that this is bad for our school, bad for our students. It is our president and our governing board who seem not to care about ethics or morality. It is they who, in order to save a few pennies, have entered into a deal that is despicable. I tell them, I have to tell them, that I have evidence that my board is prejudiced and biased, that they discriminate. I tell them that 2 meetings ago, one of the board members declared that he served in the armed forces and therefore supported Blackwater. Another one of the board members said, oh, I have a police background, so I support Blackwater. I'm in favor of this. My friends were aghast. They asked me, don't you teach your students how not to discriminate? Don't you teach your students how to put their prejudices aside and evaluate the situation objectively based on their merits? I tell them, yes. That's what I do in the classroom. Our college supports eliminating discrimination and overcoming prejudice. It's just that this message doesn't seem to reach our administrators. I tell my friends that one of our board members claimed the entire company of Blackwater couldn't be bad just because of the mistakes of a few. Well, there are 310 private security firms in Iraq.
Thank you, time is up. Thank you.
You can have my time.
You cannot do that, you can take your time. You can take your own time. And he will be removed if he continues.
310 security firms in Iraq. Only one has its president under investigation for lying to Congress. 310 security firms in Iraq, only one of them have been under investigation for income tax evasion. 310 security firms in Iraq, only one, just last week, is under investigation for smuggling guns out of Iraq.
What are you afraid of?
Yes, what are you afraid of?
You are
3
shaking
minutes. It's
the
only
school.
3 minutes. How much should they pay you?
What are you afraid of?
3 minutes.
I am sorry, you're all going to be removed if you continue this.
All right, yes.
Mark Penelope or Rose? Who is the next one? Okay, Pat Gracias, Russ Moore, and Pat Gracias and Russ Moore. How much do they pay you?
Hi, my name is Kat Gracian. I'm just an American citizen who is very concerned about the militarization of our nation and of our schools. And I find it despicable that any organization that considers itself an educational facility should stoop to the depths of allowing a company that has been in the news for committing atrocities against innocent people in another nation and against our own American citizens in Katrina. They victimized our own fellow Americans, and this is the future that we face when we allow people like this to gain power. And they are gaining power, and we are allowing them to change our society into one which we can fear. I don't want to live in a country with fear, with tyranny surrounding my every move, with tyranny in my daily life. And this is what we face when we allow mercenaries who have grown powerful and rich and full of powerful arms through our own taxpayer money that has been handed to them, when we allow this kind of an organization to have control over our educational system, over our government, over our lives, our daily lives. I don't want to face a future like this. It's very frightening to me. And that's why I have this shirt. It says, remember and protect freedom. Freedom is lack of tyranny in our daily lives. It is not bristling with armor and controlling everybody's lives. Freedom is freedom from tyranny. Please reconsider your ideas here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Russ Moore. I'm an instructor here at the college. I'm also a 29-year law enforcement veteran. I come here representing myself tonight, and I also represent the students of Southwestern College. Law enforcement training is very difficult. It's very hard for the students to go through the law enforcement training. It is also very expensive. The police academy here at the college, for information for everybody, is the most expensive program Southwestern College has for a student. It costs a student $3,000 of their own money to go through the program. Very expensive. You know, the law enforcement training is hard. It is very difficult because the job is very difficult. Public expectation for police officers is very high, and it gets higher every single day. I think what the crowd is overlooking is Blackwater itself has many different divisions. We are dealing with the training division of Blackwater. We are not dealing with the international contracting division. It's apples and oranges. Okay?
Why, we have listened, everybody's listened to you, and we're respectful to listen to everyone that speaks.
As somebody who has been to Blackwater facility and participated in the training down there, one of the misconceptions I'd like to dispel tonight is that Blackwater is there recruiting. Blackwater personnel are not there when we are there training. They give us a key to the building. We go in and utilize our facility for free, emphasizing for free. The students don't pay. There's nobody stepping up here that's going to help those poor students. Most of them.
Quiet, please. Quiet. No comments.
So again,
they didn't comment when you were talking.
Nobody from Blackwater is present. Nobody has been there recruiting. It's a fallacy that goes on there. Definitely not. It doesn't happen. But Blackwater is the training division is one division of Blackwater. If we're going to look at this, everybody here that's got a cell phone in their pocket, shame on you. Qualcomm probably made the chips in that. Qualcomm also makes the chips that the U.S. Army uses.
You should be addressing
Okay, I'm sorry. You know, Qualcomm makes the chips that the U.S. Army uses. Don't use your cell phone. Boeing makes airplanes that the F-16s that drop bombs over there. They also make United Airlines. Don't fly anymore. The cars you drove here tonight in are made by Ford, Chevy, Dodge. They also make vehicles for the Army. Don't drive your cars anymore. It's the same analogy of Blackwater. So again, you know, I realize, is it politically correct to go with Blackwater? That depends on what side of the fence you're on. But what side of the fence is on isn't right for the students. Yes, it is. Because it benefits the students. Money does not come out of their pockets. There's nobody going to step up and help these poor students. So I say, you know, let us utilize Blackwater facilities because it's free and it benefits the students, bottom line. Thank you.
We have Al Barrett, Jerry Dan.
Because I'm representing myself, not the department. I can write I'll write a phone number down for you.
Pardon me?
Sorry, I'm losing my voice.
Anybody spams me or anybody crank calls me or spams me? I'll find you. Hey, I'll talk to you outside.
Can I help her? She's lost her voice. Okay. Why is it that a company would want to change its name? Because of the dirt, the corruption, the enmity associated with the original name. Blackwater, untouchable by Iraqi law, untouchable by U.S. law, capable of all sorts of human rights violations without sanction, has dismissed and cleared out of Iraq over 200 of its own employees for violating human rights. That's the kind of people they employ. Over 200. All we need is one on this campus. Talking with a captain in the U.S. Navy SEALs and the highest ranking sergeant major in the U.S. Marine Corps, both have standing orders to anyone in their command. If they are in a room and anyone from any division of Blackwater comes in, leave the room. If anyone comes into a room from Blackwater that you're in, leave the room. There's going to be trouble. These are the people that the military is dealing with. Your entering into any sort of agreement with this company shames you, shames the college, and undermines the work that we try to do in our classrooms. You are setting a negative example for our students, and you are humiliating this school. Thank you.
Well, good evening again, folks. I thought this might be the last episode of this, but it doesn't look like it will. So for tonight's episode of Ray Lutz versus Blackwater, I'll be referring to a letter from Mr. Lutz to the members of the governing board that you should have gotten in your email. First from the letter, quote, "The proposed agreement allows Blackwater operatives to make presentations to the staff and possibly to students. The schedule is to be determined, but we want to determine now. We want to know what they're going to be saying." Well, here's the answer, folks. Where is this outright lie in the MOU? The word determined only appears once in the MOU, and it applies to the requirement that students and faculty receive a briefing about the rules and regulations as well as the proper use of the facility once at the beginning of each semester at a schedule determined jointly between both parties. In a facility where firearms are used, isn't a safety brief sort of important? Next, the use of the facility, this is a quote from the letter, has been expanded from the earlier agreement from just using the shooting range to also classrooms, mat area, and perhaps even the kill house built inside the building because the use is not strictly limited. Well, my thoughts are, what's with all the scary assumptions? There isn't any mention of something called the kill house in the MOU, but even if there were a so-called house, and if it exists and is employed in the training curriculum, doesn't that lend itself to a more realistic training scenario? In the real world, police officers rarely find themselves in a shootout with paper targets at a fixed distance. And then there's this. The claim that shooting ranges are not available is not substantiated. Well, we've heard from one of the training officers. It's not a question as to whether or not they're available. It's a problem with scheduling and cost. Which of the faculty members at this campus is willing to give up some or all of their travel money? Maybe the speech and debate team could give up some of their travel money in order to provide transportation for the police academy to get to a more distant and less accessible shooting range. Here's another questionable item. The termination clause. It's a common clause that's in every contract that every business makes. If they want to terminate, it just says in the MOU, plainly stated, they need to give us 4 months so we can make plans for our police academy in the interim. The proposed agreement, this is from the letter, the proposed agreement restricts access to the facility so observers can't find out what they are doing inside. In a public institution, the public must have the ability to provide oversight. What is so secret and mysterious that Blackwater cannot allow oversight by the public? Is something illegal going on inside? Are they performing religious indoctrination as part of the training program? This is just another misrepresentation by Mr. Lutz. First, why does he feel that the facility should be publicly accessible just because we're using it? All companies, IBM, every major company, even the ones that Mr. Lutz doesn't hate, use non-disclosure agreements in their contracts. Once again, he's trying to make a common contractual item appear to be something it's not. Fortunately for him, the people that follow him and hang on his every word aren't savvy enough in business to realize he's playing to their ignorance and working off their fear. Mr. Lutz also said, well, ladies and gentlemen, stick up for the students. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Vandewey. I am here as just a private citizen. I will ask the audience to be quiet, please.
Oh, yes, please. Let's show respect
To
You all
give-
had respect, so let's show respect for those others as well.
To give full disclosure, over 6 months ago, I did do PR work for Blackwater and was paid for it. So I do have an intimate knowledge of the company and what's going on. I do have to say though, unlike the first speaker this evening, I will not make any threats to the board. I will not bring people back. I will not come every time. I will not drag this on and on. The complaint letter was just covered for the most part. There are many parts of it, though, that are just blatant factual errors. Okay? This company, yes, there are lawsuits, but there are many parts to a lawsuit. One, everyone is innocent until proven guilty. If we wait until that happens, then we can decide whether things were right or wrong. The company has tried to take action against those that did do things that were wrong. Eric Prince stood before Congress and said that he did want oversight. He did it on public television. I watched it on CNN.
Excuse me, Madam President. I can't concentrate with all that noise going on outside.
Thank you. I was losing my place as well.
Officers, would you please control it outside?
Madam Chair, if I could suggest that the volume internally be increased so that we can shut out the noise without having the officers involved in an altercation. So whoever's in charge of the volume for the mics, we can turn up the mic.
Mr. Wilson, is that possible?
Yes.
Yes, you can.
Would you like the meeting?
No, that's okay. We'll continue on and just do the best that you can.
Happy to. The lawsuits have nothing to do with, as someone mentioned before, the training center. The training center in Southwestern College, there's nothing that's going to be a problem with the lawsuits that are already there. The OTI facility, that lawsuit, the reason that it did not continue, the reason that the new city attorney did not continue it was a wrongful suit. While yes, there were numerous contractors used to build the facility and to get the permits for the facility, there is nothing wrong with that. It is totally legal. The city has done 3 different studies of it and found nothing wrong. The city attorney, Michael Gary, did decide there was something wrong and tried to do something about it, but once he was out of office, the next city attorney dropped it, and actually the city settled with Blackwater. I would actually applaud the MOU. I would actually say that this is one of the best facilities that I've seen. I do a lot of shooting. I have seen this facility. I've toured not only this facility, but I've been to their North Carolina facility and seen that. These are completely safe, above board properties. If you want your students to be trained well, your professors, your teachers are the ones doing the training. This is the facility that they can do it at. I would encourage Mr. Lutz to create a regional security summit. By all means, create it. Take part in it. Let's find out where other ranges are that can be used. But in all honesty, this is the one that's here, that's available, and that's the right price in the budget situation that the state of California is in right now. That's not going to change anytime soon. Thank you for your time.
We still have one other speaker.
Oh, did you call my name and speak?
Robert,
Too loud.
Testing. When each of you were elected, you all promised to put as many students through college as quickly as you can and as inexpensively as you can. By approving the MOU, you will fulfill your commitment to the taxpayers and to students. Any savings should be passed on to the students and the taxpayers. No one in this economy can afford otherwise. There are students who put themselves through the police academy. I've had friends to do that. It's not cheap and it's very difficult. I was lucky enough to have an agency, and every agency wanted to cut costs. Getting the highest quality of training facilities at no cost is a win-win. It promotes both time and cost efficiencies. Probably and equally more important is providing the best training as possible. As a former police officer who was out there on the streets, I was taught to rely on my training in life danger situations as well as life saving. By approving the MOU, you will increase the chances of saving not only the lives of first responders, but to the public as well. No price can be put on that. The MOU should be approved because not only the time and cost savings, but it also improves the lives of the students that you serve today. Thank you very much.
Madam President, may I have the name of the last speaker, please?
Yes. It was Robert Buco.
Okay, hi, I'm Vivian Valdivia on behalf of Congressman Bob Filner. Let the record state. I would just like to have it on the record that Congressman Bob Filner adamantly opposes Southwestern College's contract with Blackwater. As you know, Blackwater was not able to renew its contract in Iraq due to their history of civil and paramilitary abuse. If they are not considered trustworthy in a war-torn environment, then they should not be allowed to train students in Southwestern College. As Congressman Filner mentioned during the last board meeting, Southwestern College should not sell out to the lowest bidder. Blackwater's claim to offer the facility for free should be viewed with healthy skepticism and caution. Remember, Southwestern College is putting its good name on the line for a group that is not aligned with the great values of this institution. On behalf of Congressman Bob Filner, I urge you to consider rescinding this contract. Thank you.